Hi there, I'm Linda and this is Huttons Valley Permaculture. I'm back out here in my front yard veggie garden where I'm going to do some harvesting. I've got some planting to do, and as you'll see, there's plenty of maintenance to do too. Before I get started with any of my maintenance and planting, I'm going to get my harvest done. So first up is my strawberries. I've struggled with the strawberries so far this year, not getting many. The birds were just getting to them, but it seems there's plenty now for everybody to take their share. It's a bit of a hunt to find the berries, but look, birds have already got to that one. Some of them don't make it to the house. I don't mind picking the strawberries a little underdone, like that one, because I find that they're really sweet still, and they're perfect for, making sweets with, and jams. It doesn't really matter because the sweetness is still there. Okay, the birds have picked a few of them, but that's not a bad harvest of strawberries. Next up to harvest is actually some lettuce seed. I've got this blocking my path once again, but it has started to release its seeds, as you can see with the little white fuzzy bits. So I know it's time that I can get enough seed to keep me going and meet my needs. So I'm just going to trim that. And what I do, I just thresh it into a tub straight away. So this is a red variety mignonette type lettuce, which I like to grow. But it doesn't take much threshing to actually get quite a pile of seed. And I'll just winnow all that and clean up the seed a little bit before I store it. Now this one here is a lighter green lettuce, so I don't mind mixing it all together because I don't mind to mix all in the one spot. And all I do next is kind of winnow out the lighter bits. I mean, I do blow out some of the seed, and I usually winnow over a garden where I wouldn't mind some lettuce. Sometimes if the breeze is strong enough, you can just let the breeze do the job. And if you don't want as much lettuce in this spot, you can just cut it down and feed it to your chickens, or use it for compost or as the mulch. And when I'm done, I just pack my seeds up into little bags and store them in a cool spot in the house. Now that I've finished gathering all my seeds, I'm going to throw this lot to the chickens. Next on my harvest list is some beetroot. They're getting huge, so I need to get them out of the ground and into the kitchen. In this spot I've got golden beetroot. Might grab this choya that's ready now. That's my beetroot harvest. The last harvest I'm going to do today is really just a thinning of my carrots. When I plant my carrots, I put the seeds fairly thickly along the bed, and then I'll thin them when they're actually a decent size. And the ones I take out are the larger ones, which gives the other carrots plenty of room to sort of expand to that size and bigger as well. So that's the method I use. So you get a decent harvest when you go to thin. So right in here, for example, I would like to take this guy out and maybe this guy and give this little one, these two little ones, a bit of room. It doesn't always work out, and sometimes the ones you don't intend to come out do, but it's a good method for growing your carrots. Because you get, that's a decent size, but look, I did get that small one, but there's still this other little one that I'll preserve in the ground to grow a bit larger. And I'm just going to take this one at the back here, which is a pretty decent size as well. So I might get that guy. Oh, sometimes I just need to get my spade in and loosen the soil around them and give me some wiggle room. That's what happens. But anyway, the rest of that carrot's going to feed the soil. If you don't use nasty chemicals, these little guys turn up to eat all your pests. Now, I tend to just get in and do my carrots when I need some in the kitchen, although it does get to the point sometimes where I have to go in and do a bit of thinning. So that's the fun part done. Now I'm going to get this away and then get on to the rest of the garden. Now I'm just going to chop these off right at ground level and leave the roots in the soil. And I've just got to pull out these little blackberry plants out by the root so that they don't keep growing. And over this side, I'll just get these. This is all rocket, so I'll just cut it all off at the base. I've just got to be careful. I do have a couple of cucumbers growing in here already. Now that the compost is down, I'm going to get in these Lebanese cucumber plants that I grew from seed, and then I'm just going to seed the rest of the garden. I'm just going to plant them and hope they've got time to take off. I'm not disturbing the soil too much. There's plenty of compost just to plant them directly into. So I'm just getting down to the soil level there and popping my little plant on, then pushing back the compost. And hope with the nice warm weather that will get going soon. Now what I've got planned for the rest of the garden is just some rocket seeds that I've saved, some peas, that's just some snow peas that I've saved from a previous occasion, and a variety of beetroot, just the 3 that I showed you earlier. I'm just going to put the snow peas in between these plants and see which one of these plants will win. Is it going to be cool weather plants that survive, or is it going to be these warmer plants that thrive? This is like my insurance policy for getting some sort of harvest. Next is the beetroot that I'll kind of plant in little clumps on each side. Okay, then I'm just going to scatter my rocket seeds around. This side will be cooler in the afternoon once the cucumbers grow up. So I'm going to scatter lettuce here. If I've got lettuce going to seed and I want to plant it somewhere else, I generally just grab the head of seeding lettuce and shake it all around, and it will release heaps of seeds into your garden. That's this bed planted. I will be mulching around all of these plants. I need to clear out my duck bedding, so I'll probably move some of that up here and just give this compost a bit of a cover. Now this is my tomato bed, and it is getting a bit overgrown already. I did say that I'd be back here to clear out the rocket and the lettuce before it went to seed, so it still hasn't done that. So I'm going to clear out these weeds and a bit of this nasturtium to give these tomato plants a bit of room to grow. It's kind of struggling, this one in there. So I'm going to clear that now and just use the mulch to mulch around my plants. Okay, I'll get on to it. Here's one of my little tomatoes struggling for light. It's not doing as well as these ones that haven't had to compete for the light with other plants. So once I get this area cleared, this little guy should start to kick in. There's a few grassy plants in here too, which I'm kind of really pulling out. And the rocket I can just cut off at the base. He'll be easier than everyone else to tie up though. A little basil plant, better be careful with that. I'm going to just pour all the trimmings from the garden back around all these plants to give it plenty of organic matter. Okay, so I've just got to put it all back again and just carefully go around my little basil plants that I've rediscovered under there and chop it up a bit so it lies flat on the ground and doesn't kind of stick up to bury them again. No doubt I'm going to have a path full of nasturtium again. All right, that's all those plants that we didn't need harvested and used as a mulch in my tomato bed. I'm out here in my pumpkin patch and also my cantaloupes, where you can see it's starting to get a little overgrown. So I'm going to cut down some of this and use it to mulch my plants and give them plenty of access to the sunlight so they can really produce well. I find my sickle works really well for this sort of task because you can kind of get in with your blade and separate out the bits you want to cut, but you can preserve the plants that you don't want to kind of butcher. And when the plants are nice and green and not woody, this works a treat. The pumpkin's starting to branch out, so it's a good time to get in and get this job done. All right, just have to pop all the mulch down that you've just harvested. You're never going to get it perfect, but if you can clear it a little bit, it gives it a better chance of producing some beautiful little pumpkins. The next one is just around the corner here, and we've got it hiding here. And it's fairly well mulched around it still, well, clear of weeds anyway. I'm going to harvest all these bits of vegetation and make sure that it's going to be resilient if we get some dry spells. I don't want to be up here watering. And I've got one back here too. So these are both cantaloupes. I like to mark them somehow with some sticks or one of my electric fence posts, because they do kind of get lost. I've got so much to do that I can't kind of keep nurturing them the whole time. All right, so that one's done. It'll just take time to recover. This one is a volunteer, probably a pumpkin of some description, but we'll find out at some point soon. Now, I've got a couple of potatoes here, so I'm going to pull them out of the ground and I'll just lay that down. All right, we've just got a few sort of tiny little potatoes. Maybe there'll be one or two will be nice to throw in a roasting pan. I grew them here last year and they were really lovely potato. These grasses grow where my chickens have been and haven't eaten all the seeds. So again, they're a biomass producer. They shade the ground. They get roots in the ground, but you do have to harvest it. Again, I don't mind this stuff growing because it often provides shade for the chickens when I'm moving them around. And here's another of my cantaloupes. I've uncovered the pumpkin there, a couple of cantaloupes, another pumpkin and a cantaloupe here. The last thing I'd like to do today is plant some more pumpkins. It is sort of nearly halfway through summer, but because we've had a really cool start to our summer and I don't know what's in the future, I'm going to plant some more pumpkins and just see how they go. It doesn't matter if they fail, but I'm going to put in lots of these pumpkins, which are a small gold nugget pumpkin. So they're just a tiny one. And I'm hoping that if I get lots of plants going and they get 1 or 2 fruits on them, I will cut off, the growing tips so that they put their energy into the fruits that have formed. And in that way, I hope to get a fair few little fruits to harvest. So I'm going to give that a go and see how successful that is. Compost marks the spot. Bit of an experiment, but who knows, we might get a few pumpkins out of it. Well, it's getting pretty warm now and I've had enough, but I have done what I've planned to do, including a nice little harvest of potatoes that I wasn't expecting to do today. If you'd like to see when I harvested my main crop of potatoes, I'll leave a link right here.